You've had this fight before. Maybe it starts with the dishes. Maybe it starts with how you spoke to her in front of the kids. Maybe it starts with you being on your phone when she needed you present. Maybe it starts with something so small you can't even explain it to someone without it sounding ridiculous. But it never stays small. It escalates. Old things get brought up. Voices change. And eventually it burns itself out. Not because anything got resolved, but because you're both too exhausted to keep going. And then a week later, or a month later, it happens again. Same argument, different Tuesday. Here's what I had to learn the hard way. The thing you're fighting about is almost never the thing you're fighting about. The dishes aren't about the dishes. The phone isn't about the phone. The tone of your voice in front of the kids isn't really that moment in isolation. Reoccurring arguments are surface expressions of something underneath that neither person has been able to name clearly. Maybe underneath her frustration about the dishes is a feeling that she's invisible, that she's managing everything while you're checked out and nobody notices. Maybe underneath your defensiveness when she brings something up is a feeling that nothing you do is ever enough, that no matter how hard you work or how much you provide, you're still somehow failing. Neither of you are saying those things. You're fighting about the dishes. So the dishes fight keeps happening because the real conversation never does. And I'm not telling you this is an easy fix. Naming the real thing underneath the reoccurring argument requires a level of self-awareness and vulnerability that most men, including me for a long time, actively avoid. Because the real thing is scarier than the dishes. The real thing requires you to say, I feel like I'm failing no matter what I do, and I don't know how to fix that. And most men would rather fight about the dishes for 10 years than say that sentence once. But here's what happens when you say it. The fight stops. Not because the problem is solved, but because the real conversation started. And real conversations move. They go somewhere. They create understanding instead of just damage. Your wife doesn't want to keep having this fight any more than you do. Your wife wants to know what's actually going on with you. And you probably want the same from her. The fight is the symptom. Name the disease.